Okay, so we are going to head out in a few minutes and pick up another deal. This one is for a board, chip, and RAM combo. So let's take a look. I'm actually gonna I'm not gonna show the thing on computer, but I'm just gonna video the my LCD screen so you guys can see. So this is the deal we're looking at. I messaged the guy earlier this morning, and it looks like we're solid. I was 50-50 on this one. He wasn't able to meet until later. I think I messaged him at like 11, and he wasn't able to meet until 7. And so I get a little suspicious when they want to wait that long. It typically can indicate that they're waiting to see if somebody makes them a better offer, which it sounds like they might have. I asked him. I messaged him about 15 minutes ago, and I said, I'm guessing you got a gajillion offers by now. And he's like, yeah, but you were the first. So it sounds like he's pretty solid. So as you can see, we've got if it's what he says it is, it's an i7 9700K, 32 gigs DDR4 on a Strix Z390 ITX, which I have never actually had a Z390 ITX, believe it or not. I didn't get into the whole ITX thing until much later, so I've never actually had one of those. What I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to build a upper mid-level build, assuming it works. It is untested. My best guess is that it all works. Based on talking to the guy, it sounds like he knows what he's doing. It sounds like he just doesn't want to advertise it as working because he hasn't actually tested it recently, and so he'd rather just sell it as is for parts and knowing that it almost definitely works, so he doesn't have to be responsible for whether or not it does. But assuming that to be the case, assuming everything in the bundle works, I will probably put the 9700K on a full ATX board and build that as an ATX system, and then I will probably put I've got a full ATX board that's got an 8600K on it. I'll probably put an 8600K on that, and then what I'll do is I've got a nice I'm not gonna. It's an. Well, no, it's not an ITX case. It's a nice one. It's one of those tiny micro ATX cases that looks like you could do either micro ATX or ITX. I'm gonna put this in that. It's already got a power supply in it. It's already ready to go. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do that as a budget mid-level 8th gen i5 build, which should sell well. Probably people don't like chips that say 5 on them, so it'll probably be harder to sell than lower end older like X99s with mid-level i7s, because just the way what people like. But we'll give it a try, and it should be a nice little ITX build for someone that's actually looking for that. So we'll see how that goes. But and that's got 32 gigs of RAM, so we won't have to account for RAM cost. And but we'll, it's about an hour till I take off, and he's about an hour from me, so we'll find out later tonight when I get home. I'll do my normal video once I have it in my hand and we can see what we got. But yeah, I'll let you guys know how it goes. Okay, so we got, can you even see it? I don't know if you can even see it. The camera's at a weird angle. But we have a mini ITX Z390. 32 gigs RAM. And i7 9700K. I'm going to bet dollars for days that even if everything else is dead, the 9700K is good. Chips don't usually die. And on the bright side also, this is one of those ones that has the integrated I/O shield, which is pretty cool because it means I don't have to go buy an I/O shield, which I find that generally speaking, it's just a good housekeeping thing. And I feel like when I try to sell a system without it, it tends to be a harder sale. It's just people don't seem to maybe nobody cares. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like people don't like the way it looks without an I/O shield. So I was hoping that he may have accidentally left an SSD for me, but looks like not. But it does have two M.2 slots, one on the back, which is, you see it occasionally, but it's not very common. And then one on, I think on the front. Yeah, that's got to be an M.2. Yeah, that's an M.2. So we'll get it home. This one will take 5 minutes to find out if everything works or not. So doesn't look like there's any liquid spilled on it or anything. He was in a pretty big hurry to get out of here, though. I handed him the money and he just took off. So I guess we'll find out soon. Sorry for the crappy video quality. It's dark now and I'm just on the lights in the car. So anyway, we'll find out soon what we got. Okay, guys, so I'm home. So check it out. We've got it right here. Let's see if I can get a little closer. So we're going to plug. This is going to be a quick test. If I'm lucky, the chip won't get hot enough and too hot, and I'll be able to just set my finger on it. And that does two things. It tells me if it's getting hot, but I'm not getting video, that's a good sign that it's working. I just need to fiddle with something. Okay, so those are our only two plugs. I'm going to put a video card in it just because, I mean, I could use the integrated, but I'm going to assume that the original owner had it set up with a video card, and depending on the way the motherboard was configured, it might not even be set up to work with the integrated. So just to save me the time, I'm just going to pop in a actual video card. Okay, and then so you'll actually be able to see. Let's check this out. Okay, so you'll be able to see if we get video. Now, this isn't a guarantee, but generally speaking, if you get video output, 99.9% of the time, it works. There are rare occasions where there are glitches that come up hours into testing, but those are not common, right? I mean, I might have something like that happen like once every 100 set of parts or more. It is not common to have a set of parts that powers on, gives you video output, but then also doesn't work. So generally, this is my initial, just first test. So let's see where they put. Looks like front panel is kind of in a weird place. Let's oops, there's my screwdriver. Let's see here. I'm gonna guess that it is this right here. Oh, yep, and I am right. So let's see what it does. Oh, and that didn't actually turn it on. That's interesting. Well, maybe it did. What's going on here? Okay. Okay, so it looks like it's on. Getting warm. It's not getting warm, so that is generally not a good sign. Wonder if I finally got a bad one. Let's see here. So another thing that you can do, a single. Yeah, that didn't work either. Okay, so Next we try could be memory. Let's try something else. Let's try putting a stick of RGB on it. This is also not a guarantee, but sometimes RGB lights can be an indicator of functionality depending on the individual setup. So let's try this again. So that is not a good sign. He did seem in a big hurry to get out of there. I won't lie. Let's see. Let's try it with no video card. Doesn't look like it's got a... Yeah, so that is not a good sign. Let's try... So now I'm just hoping that I didn't get a completely toast set of parts. I guess one quick and dirty way that you can check it, or that you can look, something to look at, is... Man, I thought I had a dead 9700K over here. So I should probably check. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any bent pins in the socket, so that's good. Yeah, it looks like the socket's good. But it was a bad sign when he shook. And this is untested. And this is why I don't normally buy untested as is for parts, because my opinion is that most people are liars. Okay? Now, most people that I interact with on the local market are decent, honest people. But people in general are lying sacks of crap. And my finding is that if somebody states that an item is untested as is, they're lying. It is tested. They know it doesn't work. And I know this because I routinely see items sold as is, untested, by sellers who I am aware of who they are, and I know that they would not have bought those parts and then not even bothered to test, or not even tried to test them. I'm like, you're lying. You tested those parts, you couldn't fix them, and now you're trying to dump them off on someone else. I'm like, I'm not stupid. Let's see. Okay, so I think we have either a dead board or a dead chip here. I was honestly really hoping that one of these two would work. Let's find out. Okay, so I've got underneath here a Z370. Honestly, under the circumstances, based on just what my needs are at this moment, I'd rather have a dead board than a dead chip. I need a 9700K at the moment more than I need a ITX build. Okay. So let's see what that does. I'm gonna guess it's a dead board, but it's worth it to try. So let's see what we get here this time. So let's turn it back on. Generally speaking, it is more common to get a defective board than a defective CPU. That's just reality. Okay, so it appears highly likely that we have a dead board. Yeah, because usually okay, so next step is to see if the CPU works. So we take the 9700K. I don't know if I don't know if I actually tested this board yet either. Can't remember. The source for this board was a little more solid than the one for the other board, so hopefully at least this one works. So let's do... I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to toss a stick of RGB in it, and that at least tells me something is working because I see the RGB power on. Doesn't mean anything specific, it just means something is working. Okay. Let's do this. And once again, you should be able to see if it works, because we'll get power on that, or we'll get video output on that. Okay, where did they put it here? Right here. I'm going to be annoyed if both of these are dead. Okay, the chip is getting warm, so that's a step up. Ooh, I think this one works. Oh, look at that. $9,700K. Looks like our RGB on our RAM is turned off. Interesting. Actually, you know what? Come to think of it, I think the guy that I bought it from just ended up with this RAM and wasn't really a RGB kind of guy. So I think the original owner may have turned that off. Okay, so let's see if the RAM works. Okay, let's grab a heat sink. So when you're just doing testing like this, you can use any random heat sink. Looks like I'm going to actually put an AMD one on it this time. We're not actually attaching the heat sink. We're just attaching a hunk of metal. Let's see here. No. Actually, this'll work. Or not. got a bunch of... Okay, this should work. Okay, I think we're good here. Let's see if the RAM works. Turn it on. And see what we get. Come on. Hoping I at least get 32 gigs of, oh, that's a good sign. Okay, so, yep, we're good. So we got a 9700K and 32 gigs of RAM for, actually I gave him 60 bucks and a dead board. So, I mean, well, he said it was as is untested, so it is what it is. You take the risk sometimes. So anyway, I hope you guys found this one interesting. It came out a little bit different than these normally do. So thanks for watching the video.